In this video, I'm going to take you through the rather lovely brand new SSL THE BUS Plus, a new take on the classic stereo bus compressor. So if you're sitting comfortably, we'll begin. Hi everyone, my name's James Ivey with Studiospares. When engineers and producers say, "I'll put a bus comp across the master bus," they normally mean some kind of SSL style bus compressor. And for a while now, there have been a number of different companies making their own take on this studio staple. So with the bit between their teeth, the originators of the bus compressor, Solid State Logic, have brought us the new THE BUS Plus. This unit feels great and follows many of the styling trends that SSL have set with their new product line, the UF8, the UC1, the 6, the Big 6, and the first of SSL's new breed of processors, the Fusion. Let's take a look around. Starting around the back, this won't take long, we have a pair of XLR in and out sockets for balanced connections to your desk or audio interface. We have a pair of XLR ins marked external sidechain in to allow us to trigger the compressor from an external source, and finally we have a pair of XLR outs marked external send. These sockets output a direct clone of the input, which can be used for additional processing and then routed back into the external sidechain input above. We also find the power input socket and the power switch. Back to the front panel, and we're going to start in the center of the unit. The Bus Plus has 4 modes of operation: classic stereo and summed sidechain stereo. In these modes, both channels are controlled from the left-hand side of the unit. Mode 3 is dual mono, meaning that both sides become active and act completely independently of each other. And the final mode we have is mid-side or MS mode, where the left side of the unit controls the mid signals and the right takes care of the sides. A quick press of the channel 1 or channel 2 in buttons takes that channel out of bypass. And in MS mode, you can hold these buttons down to solo either the mid or sides. Now, one thing I'm not a fan of in these times of trying to save on wasted energy is units that do not have an easy to get to power switch. Well, hold down the 2 channel in buttons and you put the Bus Plus into sleep. To wake it back up again, hit the mode button. Let's move over to the main compressor section. The Bus Plus features detented 11 or 31 position pots, making recall and stereo matching significantly easier. However, SSL have taken this to the next level, as the pots themselves are just digital controllers. Yes, the Bus Plus is a fully 100% analog processor, but it's being controlled by an onboard computer, or microprocessor, meaning that any slight component variation will not affect the audio into or out of the unit. The same goes for all of the front panel buttons. This is digital control of an analog circuit. So as you might expect, most of the compressor's controls are going to be familiar to you. We have the threshold, ratio, attack, release and makeup gain, and the sidechain high-pass filter. However, SSL have also added a mix or wet-dry blend control to the compressor to allow easy parallel processing. Above the main controls, you can see the 3 compression flavor buttons. With no button lit, the compressor is in what you might call a standard configuration. The sort of sound that you might find on any modern SSL large format mixing console. 4K mode kicks in some of that classic SSL 4K mojo with more thickness and aggression to the sound. And if we want, we can increase or decrease the amount of distortion. FB or feedback mode changes the style of compression from feed forward to a feedback style with regard to where the signal is coming from. This is an easy, less aggressive style of compression. It sounds far more laid back. Low THD can work particularly well on material where you want a nice solid amount of bass, but you still want to keep control of the bottom end. So where else have SSL added to and improved their classic? Well, let's take a look at the new Dynamic EQ section, or DEQ. DEQ is a 2-band dynamic EQ that can go before or after the compressor. Think of this in much the same way as you might a dynamic EQ plugin, adjusting the gain of an assigned frequency depending on the frequency content of the program material. It's a really nice way to process more prominent elements of your mix while not adjusting the more background audio. The LF gain pot on the left-hand side sets a plus-minus 10 dB of non-dynamic EQ. The LF HF gain on the right is also a cut or boost with 10 dB of gain, but the Bus Plus mode sets whether this is an LF or HF band of EQ. In the two stereo modes, it's high frequency, and if you are in dual mono or MS, it's a low frequency control. There are 3 DEQ buttons either side of the center section. The top one changes the high frequency filter type from a shelf to a bell. It also changes the frequency points at which the HF band operate. HF fast speeds up the response time of the dynamic EQ for the HF band. Press and hold if you want to put the HF DEQ band into an auto mode. The same is true for the LF fast button. This again has an auto mode. DEQ also gives you the ability to set one of 16 center frequencies for the filters. To adjust the center frequency, press and hold the required DEQ band. Don't worry, the flashing indicates you can now adjust the settings using the 4 lit buttons. Frequency selection is on the left, while the EQ range is on the right. So it's all very well talking about it, now it's time to hear the Bus Plus in action. I'm not a massive fan of slamming material with a compressor, or at least I'm not a fan of that sound. And with that in mind, I have a track here recorded by my band, the Studio Rats, called Drifting in the Dark. It's a mix with no master bus, compression or EQ, so let's see what damage we can do with the Bus Plus.
Headlights cutting down a dark road, midnight and I'm on my own, and I'm thinking of you. Yes, I'm thinking of you. Go through conversations we've had, those times when I made you laugh with that beautiful smile. Yeah, your beautiful smile. My mind rises over these mountains and the skyline. And I'm there, breathing in your body. Take a song that reminds me of you, and I don't mind the heartache, empty rooms and cafes, but when the music stops, I'm still drifting in the dark. 2 weeks just me in this room. Hotel rooms feel so cool when you're not with me.
So there you go, the new SSL The Bus Plus. It sounds stunning, it's easy to use, and every bit a worthy champion to take the SSL Bus Comp name into the next era of music making. Do I want one? Hell yeah! And I think paired with the SSL Fusion mastering processor, this could be the only mix bus or mastering chain you'll ever need. For more on the Bus Plus and the full SSL range, check out Studiospares.com, give us a call, or these days you can even pop in and see us. Can I get the Fusion back now to go with this? No? Oh.